And now it's over to Kay Adams to find out what's happening on BBC Radio Scotland from 9 o'clock.
Thanks, Laura. New legislation means councils can now charge companies for parking. Are you happy to pay for your parking space at work? 08085 92 95 00 is a number to call. On the phone in, the question is, do you back a levy on workplace parking? Are you happy to pay to take your car to work? 08085 92 95 00.
Your calls, your stories.
Mornings with Kay Adams on BBC Radio Scotland.
So the workplace parking levy has been one of the more controversial parts of the Transport Bill. It will give councils the power to charge companies with more than 11 spaces £415 per space. It's not mandatory, but it will give councils the power to charge companies. From experience elsewhere, and Nottingham introduced this in 2012, that cost does tend to be passed on to the worker. The only exemptions in the Transport Bill are NHS and GPs practices, hospices, I think, and disabled spaces. Critics say it will hit the lower paid disproportionately. Tell us what you think. 08085 92 95 00 is the number to call. April says the parking levy is up to each council to implement. It's not mandatory. Absolutely, April, and I think we have just said that. Leslie says, nope, not happy to pay for work car park. I work for a shop with free car parking for workers and customers. I work minimum hourly pay in part-time work 10 miles from my home, so I am paying MOT, road tax, rising petrol prices, and now could be paying car parking just because I work there, and anyone else can park there for free. How is that fair? We will have to see, of course, how this rolls out. Anne says, will the MSPs have to pay for their in-house parking? A ridiculous, unfair idea. People struggle already with transport costs. Give the public a break. I'm not sure whether MSPs do have parking at Holyrood, but we do have Jamie Green, Tory MSP, with us, so we can always ask him. The question this morning, are you happy to pay for your parking space at work if you have one? This is all about, of course, reducing congestion, reducing carbon emissions, improving air quality. Potentially, you could argue this should go further, because we do seem to be in an era where we are trying to restrict the use of the car. Would this be one measure which would encourage you to ditch your car and get to work by other means? It might not seem too attractive at the moment if you are one of the people out there who has got a very convenient car park space at work, but long term, is this the way to go? Text us on 80295 or email k@bbc.co.uk. That, of course, depends upon whether you can get to work by other means. Of course, not everybody can. Tommy says, great, another tax with a convenient label of climate change. Every single penny of this should go to public transport infrastructure, but it won't. Instead, we'll all have to pay the levy because public transport isn't fit for purpose to get us to our place of work without 3 buses and a 2-hour commute. How the hell do you get from Hamilton to Cumbernauld at 4 a.m. without a car? I think from what we hear thus far, only Edinburgh and Glasgow are the 2 councils who've expressed an interest in implementing this. But this is a starting point, of course, and we will see where it takes us. Now, can I tell you, we have contacted the SNP this morning and asked them if they would put somebody up to talk about this. We haven't managed to get anyone yet, though the lines are open. 08085 92 95 00. If there are any MSPs who are listening to us and would like to join in the discussion, we'd be very grateful to have you with us this morning. And the same for Green MSPs who we have been trying to contact this morning. As yet, no luck. I'm not making any judgment in that. It's early in the morning. As I say, the phone lines are open. You're more than welcome to join us. We would love to hear from you. We do have Jamie Green, Tory MSP, with us, though. Good morning, Jamie.
Hi, good morning, Kay.
Good morning. Do you have parking at Holyrood, by the way?
There is parking at Holyrood, actually. But, you know, this is how dismal this whole debate has become. Yesterday in the Chamber, one of the SNP members of Parliament stood up and said, well, it's only the politicians that use the car park. Well, I've used the car park, and that's nonsense, actually. The postal staff use it, security staff, the cleaners, and they're all going to have to pay this tax as well, as is the rest of Scotland if it's introduced.
How many spaces do you have there? I know we're going in a slight tangent here, but just out of interest.
Well, that's a good question. There's probably best part of 100 or more.
Okay, so more than 11, and that seems to be the threshold, doesn't it?
That's the thing. So the idea is that, think about small, medium-sized businesses. trying to encourage people to get to work. And they're going to have to pay the tax. Now, the SNP is saying, well, that's fine. The company has a choice whether to pay it themselves or pass that on. But if you're running a small business and you've got a dozen people working in your business, then this could be quite a tremendous amount to pay. So it is very likely, as we saw in Nottingham, that many businesses will actually pass on that cost. Now, if you have a larger premise with hundreds of car parking spaces, it's very likely you're going to want to pass that on to either customers or indeed your workers. And I've said throughout this, look, this isn't about tackling climate change. There's lots of other good stuff going on in the Parliament, I think. This, fair and simple, is just a punitive, regressive tax on everyday workers. And it really is going to hit the lowest paid. And that's why I spent 8 hours in the Parliament yesterday try to amend the bill to exempt a whole bunch of people from having to pay the tax.
OK, well, NHS premises, we believe, GPs' practices, hospices and also disabled parking spaces are exempt from it. I think that is the list of exemptions thus far. We've got a statement from the Scottish Government, which is the workplace parking levy is the result of Scottish Green Party proposals and will give local authorities the choice to introduce such a levy. It is not mandatory. Councils will also have the power to apply exemptions as they see fit. Any council proposing a levy must carry out transparent consultation and impact assessment, and at the moment no local authority is in a position to propose a workplace parking levy, so any comment on a scheme is speculative.
I mean, come on, really. They can't even put somebody up to come and defend the policy. And the reason for that case is because they're simply embarrassed by this. This is possibly one of the worst policies the SNP have introduced since they came to power.